Eddie Lampert finally finds the CEO for Sears he's been looking for himself. Let's talk to Reuters correspondent Ryan Vlastelica. All right, Ryan, he's been through, what, 4 CEOs since he took over in 2004? Now Eddie Lampert saying, I'm taking the job, at least for the next year or two.
Absolutely. Not just chairman anymore, now also chief executive officer over there at Sears. After the previous one, Mr. D'Ambrosio.
D'Ambrosio, right, Louis D'Ambrosio.
Absolutely. He's stepping down because of a health issue in his family. Not himself, but in his family. So there's no issue of, being fired because of poor performance or anything like that. It isn't a personal issue, but it is enough to spook investors today. This is just the latest thing to happen to Sears. They've been struggling over the past few years just to sort of regain their sales. They've had to close some stores. They've had problems really ever since the financial crisis. They've never been able to recover all that well. So this is the latest, and the stock is down about 7% today.
Same-store sales down about 1.8%, and then Kmart within the family, of course, also down 3.8%. Real estate also a factor here. When the market crumbled, this is a big box brand. They shed a lot of real estate last year. Not helping the company at all.
Right. Some people are saying they need to focus more on online sales as opposed to the brick and mortar kind of thing. That's one thing that's like a longer term strategic goal that's a little bit in question right now, just because there are questions about what is the company's management going to look like. Is Eddie Lampert going to stay in this role on a more permanent basis? Is he going to get somebody else to come in and take over after a few months? We just don't know, and until we know that kind of thing, it's probable that investors are going to be a little bit cautious on the stock.
Speaking of, is he going to find another CEO? Ronald Boire, which I believe is how you pronounce it, he's been the chief merchandising officer there. He would be number 5, excluding Eddie Lampert, actually would be number 5, 4 before him. Perhaps he's going to get the job in a year or two after Eddie Lampert.
We'll see.
Let's take a look at this stock. See, when he took over, it was below $40 down in 2004. Hit a high there over 160 back around 2007. Now we're down at about $40 again.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on to the hot spot. And as we do, folks, remember, watch those snaps at the bottom of your screen for more headlines of the day. The big Consumer Electronics Show happening in Las Vegas. Maroon 5 opened up. They played Who Needs Adam Levine When You Have Ryan Vlastelica.
Who knows?
All right, let's talk about Samsung. Quarterly profit, a record quarter, 5 in a row, this time $8.3 billion.
Absolutely. Fantastic blowout quarter over there at Samsung. The main thing is the glass that they make for touchscreen type of products like smartphones and tablets and television sets and things like that, including the Apple iPhone. So one of its biggest competitors is actually one of its biggest allies in terms of sales. So increased demand for that is really boosting the profit over there. But
this whole smartphone market is still relatively new, so you have to think it's going to cool off. I mean, they put 37 different Galaxies out there, selling like hotcakes. But even as soon as 2013, right? Things could cool?
Well, the stock actually fell in Asian trading after these results came out, strong though they were, just because analysts are sort of skeptical that this momentum will be able to stay at this pace going through 2013. Some of them think it might wane in the first half of the year. Obviously, there is still a lot of growth opportunity in the smartphone market and in various markets that use this type of glass that they make for touchscreens and so forth. Whether they can find their way into another product category and really sort of build that out and make a lot of sales from that, that's something they're going to be working on. But for the moment, there are some questions like, smartphones have come so far, so fast. How long can they stay at this rate? Eventually, it's going to have to pull back a little bit.
The rate is 500 sales per minute over at Samsung. Speaking of records, AT&T, a little bit apples and oranges because they're the service provider. They're selling, if you do the math, 76 per minute through whether it's Apple, the Android phone, the smartphone. Record sales for them in the fourth quarter.
Right, absolutely. And that's topping the previous year's fourth quarter. So this just shows that people are buying a lot of these products just in the holiday season. That stock is also down a little bit today, just so is the broader market. There are just some concerns also about, like, will they be able to keep this momentum going on like that? They report the results later on this month, and when they do, we'll be able to get a fuller picture of what the company really looks like, at least right now, just given all the questions about the global economy. Telecom is usually a defensive play. It's something we're always spending on no matter what the broader economy is doing. But just for the moment, we want to know really how quickly they're moving along, what kind of growth they're seeing, what kind of sales, and so forth. So
10 million when you combine all the brands for AT&T. All right, another theme in Vegas. Verizon now steps in and says, the hell with smartphones. We're going to be making a ton of money on wireless in all kinds of different ways here. We're going to get the big bucks. Everything from healthcare to automobiles to energy management. CEO of Verizon saying, your doctor will even be able to diagnose you wirelessly in the future. I'm not sure I like that, actually. I would like to be in person in the same room with my doctor if I'm going to get a diagnosis. That's just me. I don't know about you, Ryan. But anyway, they're saying that firefighters could perhaps navigate through burning buildings using wireless devices. That's a good thing. Regardless, shares are down 2% today in Verizon separately because the CEO talked to the Wall Street Journal about how they're potentially going to buy out the rest of the shares of Vodafone. They already have a stake in Vodafone, and they may be buying out more. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Shares are dipping a little bit as they would on that news. Let's go back to the big board, and we're going to talk yum, because we eat a lot of Chinese food in this country, but these Chinese are not eating enough fried chicken from KFC.
Who can blame them? A government report came out not too long ago sort of calling into question the chicken that the Yum Brands uses at its KFC in China, talking about growth hormones and hormones, excuse me.
Did the report say chickadee China, the Chinese chicken, you have a drumstick and your brain stops ticking?
Word for word,
yeah,
I believe.
Okay, sorry. Very naked ladies there. Go ahead.
Okay, so this report came out that sort of cast a lot of doubts about it. Oh, is this chicken really safe to be eating? You know, beyond the normal doubts about eating fried chicken from fast food restaurants all the time.
Doubts?
So because of this, sales in China fell about 6%. That's a deeper drop than people were expecting when this report first hit. People were saying maybe closer to 4% drop.
Yeah.
Of course, Yum Brands is really one of the poster companies for when it comes to the Chinese market and growth in Asia, really coming back for American companies. They make a ton of money from their overseas.
5,100 restaurants in China.
Absolutely, yeah.
Combined, yeah.
Make a ton of money from their overseas branches. That sort of almost dwarfs what they make here domestically. So seeing sales drop there is certainly it's a big deal for the company, even if it is just one country, one report, and so forth.
Full year earnings forecast below expectations at this point for
Absolutely.
2013.
And the stock is down about more than 4% last time I checked. Yeah. So.
All right, Ryan Valselica, thank you so much. Remember, folks, follow our Twitter feed at Reuters Insider and check out our YouTube channel, Reuters.com/ReutersTV. I'm Lisa Bernhard. This is Reuters.